Greetings, everyone. DFG here. Hey, guys. Just wanted to take a moment and address a question that was inboxed to me recently, and it was a question in relationship to Kanye West's Sunday services. And there were some people who were asking my opinion on what I thought about that. That I believe that Kanye was sincere, and that I believe that the work that he's doing, with the different churches around the country, that I believe that those men, those pastors, were men, of Yahweh. And I have to be honest, with you. To them who asked the question, and to you, who happen to be listening on my commentary, in regards to Kanye's West, Sunday services. You know, Kanye West has done some nonsensical things, over the last decade or so, and a lot of things that he's done, quite frankly, even to me, is somewhat bewildering. The whole thing with Trump, the whole thing with, I'm talking about the hugging and all of that kind of stuff. The whole thing with the whole slavery was a choice. Although I do understand, where he was coming from, with that, I just thought he did, a piss poor job of articulating, slavery, was a choice. Because I'm sure he meant it. Let me be careful. In my opinion, now you may have a different opinion. In my opinion, he was talking mental slavery in terms of free your mind, free your body. I thought my impression is that's where he was coming from, but it still was untimely, and he probably should stay away from that kind of stuff, in my opinion, because he does a piss poor job of articulating, his convictions many times. But Kanye will also get a pass from me. Okay, he will always get a pass from me because Kanye stood up for my relatives, my community, during Katrina, when the rest of the celebrities around the world were talking about "We Are the World" and all this other kind of shit they were singing and humming and celebrating. Kanye West was the only one who put his ass on the line and confronted the president of the United States in regards to his behavior towards the people of New Orleans who were under direct duress due to Katrina. And if you remember, he was with Michael Myers, and they were doing, I forgot what news station was interviewing them. Maybe, I want to say U.S. Today, Good Morning America, one of those programs. And he boldly stated, George Bush don't care about black people. And a lot of people got in their feelings about that. But I'll tell you what, George Bush got off his ass and got down to New Orleans and started making things happen after Kanye West, put him on spot. You know what I'm saying? Behind that. And so for that reason, if no other reason, for as I'm concerned, he gets a pass in terms of the rest of his bizarre behavior. All right? I'm not excusing it. I'm just saying for me, Kanye gets a pass, on that. I think for far too often, we as people, you know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about non-Gentiles. We as people, mankind, have a tendency to always, focus on the negative that others have done, without, giving equal balance to the positive things that those same people have done. Yahuwah tells us, mankind, Hebrew Israelites, that we should always use a just scale whenever we're making decisions. Well, just scale means that you have to weigh things. You have to, it should be balanced out. So yeah, for the good that people do, yeah, those things should be things that you take notice of and at times hold them accountable for. But also the good that people do, you should also take notice of and accredit them for. The same people I'm talking about. But far too often, we're so quick to throw someone under the bus because we typically operate too much in our emotions and to our feelings. And I'm going to do another video about, Mao Zedong. And Mao Zedong, is the author of this book, Quotations, from the chairman. And this book is pretty much the foundation in which the China Revolution, was built around. Those precepts, those concepts. I guess the red book would be the Chinese Bible for lack of a better word. But I'll get into that at some other time, not, today. I want to stay the course with this thing with Kanye West. So in terms of Kanye West's Sunday service, Kanye West's Sunday service doesn't bother me no more than Louis Farrakhan bothers me, because I'm no more of a Christian than I am a Muslim. So to ask me how I feel about Kanye West, Sunday service and his embracing of Christianity, of being a Christian, that doesn't mean anything more to me than you ask me what I thought about Farrakhan's last speech and how it relates to me as a Muslim. I'm neither one. And I would tell you that so to me, it has no bearing whatsoever. He can say what he wants to say, and he can do the Christian thing. Why can't he do the Christian thing? He has a right to do the Christian thing. All of the Christian thing, all that forgiveness, all that stuff, white Jesus included, all the Christian stuff that they do. He has a right to do that. Again, I'm not going to hold him to a different standard that I would hold Farrakhan or any of those, so-called Jewish, rabbis or Hindu priests, or imams or whatever the hell you want to call them. They do what they do. It has nothing to do with Hebrew Israelites and we the people, all right, of the Most High. And I'll give you an even better, example, because if you know me, I'm going to take it over to the book. You know that already. And let's talk about his Christianity. His Christianity, Kanye's brand of Christianity, which is Christianity, embrace everybody, right? You follow me? Embrace everybody. But if he was, a man of the book, if you were saying, he's a believer of the Holy, the disciple, the book, our history book, if he was truly a man of our history book and one of the men that our history book specifies as a separate and preferred group, then here's something that Kanye will clearly understand. Let me give you an example. I'm going to take you to 2 Corinthians. And I'm not, again, this is not a Bible study. This is information. So please don't get in your feelings, some of you guys, about, it being a Bible study, because I'm telling you, it isn't a Bible study. You follow me? This is not, I'm not into religion. If I had a religion, it is that I'm a man of the Most High. I'm a Hebrew Israelite, tribe of Judah, one of the 12 tribes of our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yeah, if that's what we're talking about. But other than that, I don't have any other interest in all that other stuff. I'm interested in this because I'm them, who I just quoted. Well, look what 2 Corinthians says, chapter 6, verse 17. Right? Yeah, he says, look what he says. Wherefore, come out from among them, and be you separate, said Elohim, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. See, Kanye talking about embracing everybody. Christianity embraces everybody. Come as you will, right? But that's not what Paul says. I'm going to read it to you again. He said, wherefore, come out from among them. Who is them? The heathens, the Gentiles. Come out from among them and be you separate, said the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing. Some people were, and it's funny because I've heard people talk about, with Peter in the book of Acts, I think around chapter 10, verse 13, where Yeshua is telling Peter about embracing a Roman centurion. And he brings this vision, and he tells him to rise and eat all these unclean things. And Peter, who walked with Yeshua, who would have known and he had the Ruach HaKodesh at the time, because he got that on the day of Pentecost. Although he had the Ruach HaKodesh in him, so-called Holy Spirit, he knew he wasn't supposed to eat unclean things. And it's funny how people say, well, once you be a believer, you can eat whatever you want. Well, Peter didn't feel that way. Acts chapter 13 comes after Acts chapter 2 and 39. You follow me? It comes after that, or Acts chapter 2, on the day of Pentecost, when they received in the upper room. So Peter had that revelation of the mind of Yahuwah. And he still, several chapters later, years later to be exact, told people, I don't eat nothing unclean. Right. If it didn't eat off the earth, he didn't eat it. If it did not eat of the earth, he did not eat it. So when you talk about unclean, here you go over here, Paul is saying the same thing. I'm going to read it to you again. Wherefore come out from among them and touch not, and be you separate, said Elohim, and touch not the unclean thing. Touch not the unclean thing. Come from among them. And he said them. So if you don't know what unclean thing is, then you go back, them as the unclean thing. Heathens and unbelievers, Gentiles. And also Hebrew Israelite heathens as well, those who don't accept the word. But I got to give you precepts. I can't just start right there. So let me take you over to 1 John, all the way in the back of the book, all right? In your New Testament, I might add. And here it is, 1 John chapter 2, okay, and it's verse 15. And look what he says here. Let me read it slow. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of Elohim is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, the pride of life, is not of Elohim or Yahuwah, but of the world. So here it is here. He's telling them again, come out, be yourself. So I gave you precepts. So if a Christian was really the people of the Most High, then they would not have that concept that embrace all whosoever will mentality, because that's not consistent with the word. I gave you what Peter said, you know what I'm saying? That, be ye separate and touch not the unclean thing. And then I come over here, I'm sorry, that's Paul on both times, telling you that, and Paul is supposed to be the apostle, to the world, to the Gentiles. But he was preaching to the scattered. He wasn't necessarily preaching to no Gentiles. He was preaching to the Israelites who were scattered all over the world. As Yeshua told them, go you forth into all the nation preaching to the gospel, because he knew that our people were scattered. So he was telling them to go all over, our people all over the world, and teach them. Because he knew that the Gentiles, were not going to embrace this word. He knew that the Gentiles are not going to love Elohim. They're not going to love him. They're going to love these things of the world. Again, the lust of the eyes, things they see, sex, sexuality. You know what I'm saying? Lust, the lust of the flesh. It means every kind of perversion, sexual perversion they can think. The pride, you know what I'm saying? They don't care about doing unto others that they have done unto them. They don't really care about, doing and getting away with it. You follow me? They don't have forgiveness in their hearts because they're not of the Father. They're not of Elohim. They're of this world. And you just heard me say that. So, again, so when you hear me talking about Kanye Sunday service, to me, all Christians, because they're not embracing this, you know what I'm saying? They're not embracing the word. They're not accountable to the word. They're accountable to this world. So he's preaching to the world. So why not the world coming on in with Kanye? Again, I have no judgment for the man. You know what I'm saying? I have no judgment for him whatsoever. I have some respect for him, again, because of what he did for my people. But in terms of him going out there and Jesus walks and all that kind of stuff and having celebrations and embracing all this stuff, hey, man, go for it. At the end of the day, unless he gets a revelation about who he is as a Hebrew Israelite and walk away from the lie that has been taught to us under the guise of Christianity, he's condemned to hell anyway. He's lost. Eyes to see but can't see. Ears to hear but cannot hear. We were warned about that. Isaiah told us about that. Yeshua also told us about that. Unless they will see with their eyes, hear with their ears, and be converted. And then the Most High, Elohim, will receive them or him. So when you're looking at, Kanye Sunday service or the T.D. Jakes or Creflo Dollar, Joel Osteen, Joyce Myers, Benny Hinn's of the world, the Kenneth Copeland's of the world, Rod Parsley's of the world, the Paul Martin's of the world, you know what I'm saying? The Robert Blakes of the world and his sons, them all heathens. I'm sorry. Those are heathens. They're not believers. They're not following the book. Absolutely not following the book. A form of godliness, as the scripture says, but denying the power thereof. So Kanye, I love you for what you stood up for New Orleans. But as far as your Sunday service, all I can tell you is have at it. You're worshiping on the day of the sun, which you shouldn't be doing in the first place. But you're not offending, not a true believer. And most of our people, they are true believers. They just don't know what the word says because they won't study to show themselves approved under Yahuwah, rightly dividing the word of truth, because they lack a teacher, a true teacher, and that with the insight and the love for Elohim, one with faults, but yet one with perfect love. Thank you for listening, guys. Peace. Love you. Talk to you soon. DFG. Bye now.